another episode of the Mind to Lead podcast. And today I am absolutely honoured and excited, and I'm sat down with Lisa Teh. Lisa, I feel like I know you already because I follow you on LinkedIn, and you've just like this beacon of hope and joy. So over to you. Who are you and what's brought you to this point in your life right now?
Oh, firstly, thank you so much for making the time to have a chat with me, Georgie. I'm so excited, and I love the community that you're creating. So I'm looking forward to sharing some of my experiences and some of my thoughts. So thanks for having me. It's as we were talking about before, it's like a freezing Melbourne morning at the moment, but I've got an electric blanket on, so I'm not feeling too bad. But I run a digital marketing company based outside of Melbourne, or based in Melbourne, and I do a few little things actually. So that's probably I'd like to say 9 to 5, but as we were talking before, when you own your own business, there is really no 9 to 5. You're sort of working around the clock, and I really do love what I do, so I don't feel like it's work, which is great. But I started my career as a tax lawyer, so it's very different to what I first, I guess, began my career in, which I'm grateful for because I was not passionate about that. So I do that. I've got a business podcast called Lick. I've got sounds really random because people always go, that's really weird. I've got a mouthwash, toothpaste, and toothbrush line that's stocked in MECCA. I've actually got some mouthwash on my desk. So it's called... Yes, it's called... I know, convenient product placement, but it's called 101 Lifestyle, and I started that with my husband. And then I just are in the process of launching a new venture called Listnick with one of my business partners, Nick, and that will focus on a community marketplace which connects business coaches and mind coaches with people looking for mentoring. So yeah.
Wow.
Got a bit on.
Yeah, amazing. And what an interesting background to go from tax into starting your own companies and things. So that entrepreneurial tendency has obviously always been in you. So let's talk about that journey there, because you touched on something really important that I believe is just crucial to success and happiness and all that good stuff in life, and that's passion. So when did you decide, right, I've got to get out of this tax, the world, this isn't for me? Like, what was the mind shift for you that you said, right, enough's enough, I'm going to start my own business and go for it?
Yeah, look, that's a great question, because I guess I never really thought about, and it sounds so silly, like I never really thought about running my own business. I just wanted to do something that I loved and that I enjoyed. And I sort of accidentally fell into running my own business. But as I started my career in tax, I always wanted to do something creative. So I had a fashion, beauty and lifestyle website that I started with my former business partner in 2011, which is a really long time ago now that I think about it. And it really gave us an insight into the digital landscape and how to grow a digital platform and social media, because it was all so new back then. So that kind of gave me a taste for creativity and digital marketing. And so I was able to leverage that website to get a job at Witchery, working in their marketing department. And then from there, we ended up starting our own business. And I guess for me, that sort of turning point to even make that career change and eventually start my own business was just sitting at my desk every day counting down to 5 o'clock. So pretty much for me, the time was either 5 o'clock or not 5 o'clock. So I just wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't passionate. I wasn't excited to get up in the morning, and work really felt like a drain, to be perfectly honest with you. And I just thought, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, I don't want to waste my life sitting there looking at my watch going, what time is it? Can I go home yet? So I'm really driven by the desire to be happy and wanting to be happy. So I feel super fortunate because, I have a lot of friends who are in corporate, and I always say to them, like, they're not happy, but I go, do something else, find something that you're passionate in. And then it's like, I don't know what that is. So I feel very fortunate that I have something that I really love and I get to do every day. So I feel really, really lucky.
That's it. And it's an interesting one, isn't it? And I can completely and utterly sympathize with you there, because I was in a sales job, again, like looking at the clock, counting down the minutes until 5 o'clock came and I could walk out the door. And It is. It's a really, it's no way of life, but unfortunately, it is a lot of people's normality. So, what does it take? Because this is a question that comes up that I get asked a lot as well. It's like, what was the steps? What did, like, it doesn't, you didn't just quit one day. It was like a step process to it. So if you could break it down, what was that sort of, was it the kind of a final straw that came in, or did you like start your side hustle? Like, what advice would you give to somebody if they're sat there right now, they don't like their 9 to 5 job, they maybe want to start a business, where should they start?
Yeah, so I would say that definitely be open to taking a pay cut and maybe go to no pay at all. So if really you're wanting to start your own business or change careers or find something that you're happy in, the reality is you're probably not going to be earning as much money as you're on. And for some people, that's a deal breaker. So they're like, I've got a certain lifestyle that I'm accustomed to, and I don't want to leave that. So for me, it's like, okay, well, you're choosing to put money ahead of your happiness, which is totally fine. But then I almost feel like saying, well, then stop complaining.
Yeah.
Because like we all have a choice. And I can tell you right now, like I'm earning less than I was when I was a graduate. When I first started my career, but I'm so much happier. And money, I don't actually really believe, and my business partner once said this, and I thought it's actually really true. He said, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it buys you options. And I think that's actually quite accurate, because like I remember earning decent money, and I would just go shopping all the time because I wasn't happy, and I'd get that little hit of yes, I want to feel a bit happy, so I'll go and buy something. So I just ended up with a wardrobe full of clothes, but at the end of the day I was still not happy at all. So I would say that just be willing to, I guess the reality is like you'll probably lose a bit of financial security, and then I would say that if you're not in a position to do that, then try and make it a side hustle. So just start off small. You don't need to quit your job entirely and go after what you want. You can just start off by, trialing things. It's kind of almost like that minimum viable product. Just get something out there, and you can still be balancing it as alongside your 9 to 5, but just be prepared that it'll be a lot slower. So my business partner and I actually, my former one that I started CODI Agency with, like we actually both left our jobs within a couple of days of each other and decided to just go for it full time, and sort of said, there's no plan B, we're just going to make it work. So for us, like I'm very much like an all or nothing sort of person. Like I'm all in or I'm all out. So when I want something, like I really will do anything to go after it. Obviously not compromising my values, but you've got to be willing to work really hard. So you have to make sure that it's something that you really want, because as you know, it's really hard running a business. Like it's not glamorous whatsoever. So you'll have to make a lot of sacrifices, whether that's time, you won't get to spend as much time seeing people that you care about, or financially you need to invest your own money. And I do believe though, if you're passionate, it will get you through all those tough times.
I completely agree. And I was just sat there like a nodding dog throughout the whole thing, because everything you just said, I can literally like sympathize with. Like I'd go out weekends and buy like designer handbags and just constantly buy myself new clothes and everything like that, just to fill a hole basically, because I wasn't happy, and I was justifying the unhappiness by saying, yes, but I can do this, and this, and that's amazing. But money, you're right, it gives you options, but it doesn't buy happiness. And I think that maybe as a society we need to sort of redefine success. Success isn't just about your car, your home, and what you wear. So I'd love to know how would you define success in your life right now?
That's such a timely question. I was actually just talking to one of my really good friends, Mia, last weekend. Actually, we're going for a walk and we're talking about success. And for me, it's kind of funny. Like, are there other things that I would love to achieve in my life? Absolutely. But for me, success is really, I guess, I define success by how happy you are. And there's definitely a lot more things that I want to do. And I don't feel like I've, peaked in my career at all. I've got a lot of things I want to achieve, but I do somewhat feel successful because I'm really happy. Like I actually love what I do. I love my team. I love my clients. And that for me is a level of success I never thought I could get to. So Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's different to everyone, because some people go, "Well, when I earn X amount of income, that's success. So when I buy this car, that's success." So whatever it is to, to you, then, full respect. Like, I don't want to tell people what to define as success, but I do think that it's really dangerous if you link success to money, because like we were saying, it's not like it's not a good driving force, because it won't always make you happy. Like, you might get there, but then, like, what's it all for,
Completely agree. And I'd love to sort of touch upon now. So obviously we are living through crazy times. So, I've seen you post a lot about like mental well-being and mental health. So how have you gone about staying in such a good headspace throughout the last sort of few months? Have you got any daily like routines or habits that you do that you just, are non-negotiable for you, that make you feel good every day?
Yeah, look, I just can't even believe that we're going through what we're going through. And it actually almost doesn't feel real, because I don't know, it's like something from a movie. Like, I never would have thought like a virus could completely cripple economies around the world. Like, it just doesn't seem real. But, I very much I've definitely worked on being a glass half full person. And I think, generally I'm very much like that anyway. Like, I'm quite positive, and it's been quite a testing time over the past couple of months for myself and my team. But I always try and look for the positives in any situation. And I really try and employ habits that set me up to have as good day as possible. So I usually don't check my emails until I sit down at my desk. So I start my day off by going for a walk with my partner around the park with our dog. Then we do a workout together, and then I'll film my LinkedIn vid, and then I post that. And then I try and at least do one thing off my to-do list, my most important thing, before I even check my emails. Because once I get into my emails, I get so distracted. Like, I'm really, I actually really am quite unfocused. So any tiny thing will distract me. So I need to definitely implement things which are going to help me stay focused throughout the day and stay positive. So when I feel like I'm ticking things off, then I feel good. Like, I feel like I'm achieving things. But, you know what it's like when you run your own business. It's really hard to just get things done, because you always get distracted by people calling you or emailing you. So I often find I get to the end of the day and go, okay, I can start my day now and actually do some things, because I probably would have spent the whole day in Zoom meetings. And I almost feel that I'm in more meetings than ever before, because you don't need to factor in travel time. So I just literally have back-to-back Zoom meetings my whole day. So I can't really get any momentum to do the things that I want to do. So I often end up having to work on weekends or work after hours, which I don't mind, because I enjoy what I do. But I think it's just really important to establish a routine that gives you the best chance of having a good day. And that's really, I think, the things that we can control. You can't control whether you're going to get a bad email from a client or someone's going to call you upset, but the things that you sort of have an impact on or have control over, you should really try and make them as positive as possible.
I totally agree. And I'm a big believer of how we start our day impacts the rest of the day. And then our days impact our weeks and our months and our years, So I really do believe, like, especially as a leader and you've got a team to manage, doing something for you. I am all about starting the day off, doing something for you, whether that's exercise, meditation, just whatever, reading, just like how you start your day. It does really impact people. And I think that was the first thing to sort of a lot of people lost, was their morning routine. They were getting up later when the lockdown came, and they didn't know how to work from home, and there's just lots of like chaos, So, I mean, how's your productivity been since working from home? Do you feel like it's taken a dip, or how have you been finding it?
Yeah, it's so good. God, that first week, I was a mess. I was like, I couldn't get out of bed. I wasn't exercising. I was eating like so much chocolate. And it really definitely does take a lot to refocus yourself and create a new routine, because a lot of us, you have your morning routine, like you might do your exercise, then you put your makeup on, then you go to work, and then you've got that drive to work or the PT journey to work, and then you get back, and like there's a bit of a break up in your day. But now a lot of us are waking up, and you can sit at your desk if you want to, and just start working straight away. So yeah, it was definitely a challenge at the start to try and get into a routine. But I think for me, routine's really important. So that's not to say that I can, that I get my whole day gets derailed if I've, don't follow my routine, but I definitely find I function a lot more productively when I have a bit more of a set routine. So, our sales team would meet every morning at 8:30, and that got us all just to be starting our day right, knowing what we needed to do, because obviously sales is like one of the toughest things given the current climate. So to be trying to sell and make money was really challenging, but I've actually really enjoyed spending time with my team a bit more, because I get to go to whips. I have the meetings every morning with my team, and I get to see them, whereas most of the time I'm actually just out in meetings. So I do BD, so most of my job is centered around sales, so I would always be out of the office, so I actually rarely get to see my team. So it's nice to get that, get that FaceTime with them, which I really enjoyed. And we're actually doing some volunteer work for an amazing charity called Food for Change. So a few of us went to the farm on the weekend to create some content. And it was the first time we'd seen each other for a long time. So it was just really good to see them face to face and just get a bit of time to actually just give them a bit of I shouldn't say give them a bit of a hug, but
a fist bump.
Exactly. So it's been definitely an adjustment, but I actually feel like I'm super productive because I'm not traveling to and fro from all these meetings. So I can actually get, 8 hours of solid work, whether it's in meetings or in front of my desk doing proposals. I can get that done. So I do love it from that perspective.
Amazing. Now, I would actually like to pick your brain here, because you've got CODI, you've got your podcast, you've got your 101, you've got a lot to kind of manage. So talk about time management. Talk to me. How do you structure your week, your days? What does that typically look like for you?
Look, I'm probably not the best person to talk to about time management because my hobbies are actually, I've realized this, my hobbies are business. So that's why I think I always just end up starting hobbies when I feel like I've got spare time, because I love being busy. And I think I just get into trouble if I'm not busy. So I'll end up shopping or just waste time on TikTok for 5 hours. So I definitely working. I think I'm a workaholic, and I have struggled, to be honest, with time over the years. So my husband's actually fantastic. So he always calls me out if I'm always on my phone. It's you got to be present, no phones, make sure that when we're hanging out, you're trying to stay as focused as possible, because in the past, and you know what it's like when you're on your own business, I feel like you're never truly off. You always are thinking about ideas, and you're thinking about, I could do that. So I've really tried to work on, when I'm spending time with him or friends or family, I'm not on my phone. So I can, say, look, I'm going to allocate that time to hang out with them. So that's just no go for work. So just focus on being present in the moment. And then when I'm working, I just try and maximize my time as much as possible by writing my to-do list, making sure that I'm ticking things off. And then I've really learnt, and my ops manager's head of ops, Lana, is amazing. She's just delegate it out if you can't do it, because it, in the past, I always feel I've needed to do things when my team's incredible. So I'm why am I not just getting them to support? Otherwise, I always become the bottleneck and things get stuck with me. So I'm just working on actually feeling comfortable to say, hey, can someone help me with this? Because I hate asking for help. I hate bothering people. So so I think that sort of helped me manage my time a lot more, just knowing, hey, you don't have to do everything,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm smiling because my husband, he definitely helped me, because I've always been a bit of a workaholic, and I actually remember we went away for the weekend together, and it was a romantic weekend, and at Saturday afternoon I just randomly got on my laptop. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, what? He goes, put that away. And I remember it was such a moment in my life. I just thought, oh my God, if I can't just switch off on a weekend to be away with my husband, then there really is a bit of a problem going on here. So do you and your husband, do you work together? Have you got a business? You said 101 that you run with your husband. So how's that dynamic? How do you go about, switching off? Because it's tough, right? I mean, I work with my husband, and, sometimes all we talk about is work. So how have you gone about sort of creating a thriving relationship and working together?
Yeah, he's actually amazing. So I don't know how he puts up with me, to be honest with Because I'm always working and I want to talk about work
Yeah.
and like, oh, this and this. And I'm very much like big picture, like big goals, get excited about a lot of things. And he's very practical. So he like, I can kind of create ideas and run with them and drive them. But he's really the person that will implement all the little day-to-day things. So he's like packing the orders and then dropping it off at the warehouse. And so he's actually really great. Like we complement each other really well, which is very lucky. Like we've been together for 13 years or something. Wow. So yeah, we know each other super well. So he knows how to annoy me. That's like how to irritate me. But he's also like really good because we really do have opposite skill sets and opposite things that we like doing. So he's good with like, all the numbers and managing all that. So I think as long as like, if you want to work with your partner, you just have to make it quite clear what each person's role is, or even like, this is just in relation to business in general, just make sure that each person knows what they should do and then they go and do it. So I think that sort of makes it, able to be successful.
Agreed. No, it's really good advice. I think, it's a learning experience, isn't it? Because I mean, my husband never worked with me before, and then when we first started working together, he was like, "You're actually scaring me." I was like, "Sorry, I'm just getting excited."
You and I are like exactly the same.
I know.
So
it's hilarious. He was just like, you just need to chill. And I'm like, no, I'm just really excited about everything and kind of all these own ideas. And, I just like, would just be sort of like drifting off to sleep. And I was like, oh my God, I've just had this idea. And he's like, shut up.
Go to bed. I'm like tapping on my phone. I'm like, just a sec. I just got to take these notes. My other thoughts are in my head. Yeah. But you know what? I think people like us, like sometimes we get absolutely carried away and things don't even eventuate. You just get excited because you're like, oh, maybe this is going to happen or this will happen. But, I think the challenge is if you're too practical, like you never celebrate anything. So I remember when we got into MECCA, I was like, we're going into MECCA. This is amazing. Because like I've loved MECCA for years. Yeah. And he was like, oh, let's see if we get any sales. And I said, no, you've got to celebrate the fact that we got in there. Like that's amazing. So I think, where people like you and I are great because we will be excitable, we drive things, we keep things going, and we actually take the time to go, hey, you need to stop for a second and realize that, you've got X amount of sales, or you got into a retailer, or you got that sale. So I think people are so quick to forget about celebrating the little wins because they're on to the next thing and they're on to the next thing and then on to the next thing. And I don't always think that that's necessarily a good thing. Like you need to just stop for a second and go, hey, look, I've actually achieved all these things. Like even in business now, I think, oh my God, every day that my company's still around, I just think, thank God, like that's an achievement,
Yeah. Absolutely, because unfortunately there are a lot of companies that are really struggling or have gone under, and I'm like you, like it is literally like we celebrate everything, like in it, like literally like a new job's come in our business, woohoo, like a new member's just signed up on the My Boy to Lead, woohoo, oh my God, we've just hit over 5,000 listeners on our podcast, woohoo, like literally like if I just kept on popping the champagne, I think I'd be spending half my time absolutely tipsy on the floor. Correct, constantly. But I think that's all part of it, right? And I do think it's what you choose to focus on, and that is why you can maintain a optimistic outlook on life. And I kept on saying it throughout the pandemic, and as we continue, perspective, right? What are you giving meaning to? And there is an opportunity in this. So before we jumped on the call, you obviously mentioned that you and Nick have started a new business. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about that and, how did that idea come about?
Yeah, well, we're both really passionate about giving back to the business community. So if people follow us on LinkedIn, we're always sharing our knowledge. And look, I'm definitely not holding myself out as an expert. I'm holding myself out as someone who's made a lot of mistakes and has a lot of learnings. And if people can learn from my mistakes, I would love that. But and he's actually great. Like he's really... he's actually wanting to be very available, which I think is really admirable for someone in his position. So we just found that we have that common bond where we wanted to give back and support the business community. So we would do that through our LinkedIn content, and that naturally evolved into a podcast. So we have a podcast called Creatively Lick, which is just a combination of our names. It's so funny because it started as a joke, and then it sort of happened to stick. And then now I'm just embarrassed when I say, would you like to come on our podcast? Like, yeah, of course. What's it called? I'm like, lick. And then they just go, sorry? I go, oh, it's just a combination of our names. It's just so bad. And then because I think our challenge is, like, we both love helping people, especially in business. So we started to do that, I guess, at scale through the podcast and through our LinkedIn content. But we just found that even that was taking up a lot of our time, and we just couldn't answer the questions that we needed to. And people would, always message us for advice or wanting to have a chat. And we just literally don't have the time. So, and I have to say a massive shout out to him, because we work with him on his LinkedIn, and when we first started, so we do LinkedIn management as part of what we do for CODI. And when I first started working with him, I said, like, what do you want your personal brand to be? And he was saying, like, he really wants to be accessible. And to his credit, like, he is one of the hardest working people I know. And he takes the time to respond to comments, to messages, no one else at his level of success, I honestly believe, in Australia is as accessible as he is to the general public. So, full credit to him. So we were just sort of talking about mentors and how, like, we have great mentors in our life. And, I always speak to him, and we always talk about mental health as well, especially during Corona, because I'm quite, as you mentioned, I'm quite open about mental health. And, I've spoken on my platforms about seeing a therapist and how much that's helped me. And I really do believe people who have a platform, have a voice, are in like a management sort of position, really owe it to everyone to say, hey, like, you need to focus on your mental health and be open about their struggles, because as much as you feel comfortable, I mean, I don't think anyone feels really that comfortable, but it's really important to show vulnerability, because that's what's going to encourage other people to be open and share their struggles. And I'm actually amazed, because so many people message me. These are people I've never met before, just who'll connect with me on LinkedIn. And they might have seen one of my videos, and they'll say, hey, thank you so much for sharing something about mental health, because it's something that I'm currently struggling with and I haven't been able to tell anyone, or they'll open up about people in their lives who have taken their life because of struggles with mental health. And I just think, wow, it's incredible to think that, there are so many people out there who don't feel comfortable sharing it. So that's why, part of what I do on LinkedIn is really, I'm quite open. Like, if I have a shit day, I'll say, yeah, I had a bad day, it's fine. You move on. It's not the end of the world, and it's okay to tell people that. I think there's an expectation that you share content which is really positive and uplifting and all that, and that's me most of the time. But if I do have a bad day, like, I do feel like it's a duty to not just show all the highlights. I think social media is very much been seen as a highlights reel, but for me, that mental health side is really important. So we both thought, we actually did a podcast on mentors and the importance of mentors, and we just thought, it'd be interesting to see where people find mentors. And we sort of put it out there, and people just said, we don't know. And there was like an overwhelming response of people going, I'd love to find a mentor, just don't know where. And we just thought, oh, that's interesting. So we genuinely believe that to be stronger in business, you need to be mentally strong, but you should have someone to help you to avoid mistakes so you can get to where you want to go faster. So really, we just started thinking, going, well, there's a massive need for this. Why don't we create it? Because we do want to support people in business. We do want people to be the best they can be in business. And then Listenik was born. So again, combination of our names. Really need to probably get a bit more creative. It's always really hard, because like, you want to think of something that's different and unique, and a lot of, like, say for example, business podcasts, like, they're all kind of similar sort of names. So we just thought, okay, well, let's just go with something unique for this as well. It's just like a combination of our names. It's quite personal. So we'll be launching that in the next couple of months. But really, like, we're super excited, because we know it's going to help a lot of people, and hopefully it will remove the stigma of actually going to see a therapist. So on the platform, people will be able to be connected with mentors, so people who either have run their own business or who have got to a certain level in their career. And then it will also help people connect with mind coaches, so therapists, psychologists. And the thing is, like, you can do it, it can be open to anyone around the world, because it's going to be run through the platform. So all sessions will be done via video conference. So you might, you can now have a mentor in Europe, in the United States, like anywhere around the world, and you have someone like a coach who's going to help you be the best version of you that you can be.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, and it's funny because my husband and I have just started the My Boy to Lead, as I was saying to you beforehand, and we just saw an opportunity as well. Like we're both personal trainers, we're both nutritionists, and
Yeah.
that was kind of our background, and I sort of like fell into recruitment and just started my own business because it was what I was good at as well. But my passion has always been health and well-being, and the mindset piece, because it wasn't until I really understood who I was, it really wasn't until I had mentors and developed a very strong mindset that my life, my business, everything went to the next level. And I just think that's such an important piece of the puzzle of success, because like I said, you can have all the money in the world, live in the big house, have everything, but if you aren't happy, if you aren't fundamentally in a good space mentally, physically, then what's it all for? Like I always say, health is number one. And going back to what we were talking about before of like business, I absolutely love business, I always have, but I now am very aware, because I've got to the point of like almost burnout before, where I was just working around the clock weekends. And I just said to myself, do you know what? Like life is more about, it is about health, it's about relationships, it's about how you feel day to day. And I think, it's just something I'm very, very passionate about. So hence we started that as well. But I think there is a real gap in the market, and the stigma does need to be, it does need to be stopped. So I love what you're doing. I think it's really incredible. But look, like you just said then, you post a lot on LinkedIn and social and things. So I'd love just to quickly talk to you about a little bit about sort of personal branding and how important is that if you're going to start a business. What advice would you give to people who want to have a personal brand, but perhaps maybe lack the courage to start posting and put themselves out there?
Like, that's a really common question. And I think like it's something that stops a lot of people from sharing their thoughts, because they don't think they're good enough, or they don't think they're at a certain place in their career, or they're a certain level of success in business. So they just don't think their opinions are worth anything. And I strongly believe that we all have our own things that can teach others. Like we all have our own journey, our own unique experiences. So I don't think that I'm better than anyone else posting. In fact, like, I was doing a talk to some school kids a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying to them, I'm actually no one special. I'm just someone who happened to find something that they love, and, I'm willing to work really hard, but I don't have a right to have a platform or have a voice more than anyone else. I just think I just have I guess it's not even courage. Like I just do it. Like I just post because and I was saying this to someone actually last week. I said, because I'm actually an introvert and I don't like public speaking, and I don't like a whole lot of people looking at me. So I find that like completely overwhelming. But for me, when I'm doing LinkedIn, it's just me talking to my mobile phone. So it's not anything particularly exciting, but I really do believe that my fear of worrying about what anyone might think, or, negative comments, or people judging me, I feel my desire to help people overrides that fear. So if you can find something that's going to override any concerns that you might have, then that's a powerful driving force. So whether it's like a desire to be successful, or get your brand out there, or get your product out there, or get your name out there, like whatever, or desire to help people, whatever it is, use it to override whatever is holding you back, because everyone has something that they can share. So I really do believe, unless it's really negative, then please keep your opinions to yourself. I really do believe that we all have a lot of value to add to the community. So I guess when you're thinking about your personal brand, one thing I ask our clients is like, what do you want to be known for? Like, do you want to be seen as someone who is a positive contributor to the business community? Do you want to be seen as someone who's an advocate for mental health? Do you want to be seen as, someone who's an advocate for females in the workplace? Like whatever it is, work out what you want to be known for, because that will help you form your personal brand. And I'll be honest with you, I really actually only started going on LinkedIn really consistently about 8 months ago. So before that, I was very much like growing up in the Instagram world, like content creation. And I'll be honest with you, my personal brand wasn't particularly, I don't want to say it wasn't credible, but it was just like literally just photos of me in dresses, like, because I love fashion. So it's very much like a fashion sort of, that was my personal brand. And then I guess I never really thought of myself as a business person. And although I did have my own business, I was never pushing that forward as my personal brand. And I don't know whether that was because I doubted myself, or like, it wasn't so much imposter syndrome. It was just more like, I don't know, I never really saw myself as a strong business person. So I don't think I ever really got active on LinkedIn. And I actually started seeing my therapist probably like 12 months ago or something. And she has been amazing. So, you know, good on you, because you were talking about how getting your mental mindset and your health and like your, you know, getting your health and your mental health, physical and mental health in check has helped you take your business to the next level. And I actually fully agree with that. So since I started seeing my therapist, since I got, you know, changed who I spent a lot of my time with, I've just felt like infinitely stronger as a business person. So I feel confident that, do I know everything? Absolutely not. But do I have things that I know can help other people? Definitely, because I've made mistakes. I've failed at a lot of things. So I know that those lessons will help a lot of people. So it's actually incredible. Once you can focus on being mentally stronger and working on, I think, believing in yourself more, like you realize, yeah, I actually do have things I can share. And, you know, if someone leaves a negative comment, I'm just like, oh, I'm going to write straight back to you. Because like, you know, not that I want to add fuel to the fire, but, you know, I just don't, I don't know. I don't have a lot of respect for people who just sit behind their keyboards and write horrible things to people, because they don't, like, I'm actually quite lucky. I think because I'm a bit older, I can just go, whatever. Like, you know, that actually says more about you than it says about me, what you're writing. Whereas I look at the younger people, and one of my team was telling me that one of her friends, and she's in her early 20s, posted a video on TikTok, and these people are going, oh my God, your eye bags are so big, you should get plastic surgery. Oh my God, you're so ugly, you should go kill yourself. Like, these are, I'm guessing, young kids writing this to her, and she actually deleted a whole lot of videos because she was so upset. I just thought, these people are actually crazy. Like, they have no idea that there's a human being sitting on the other side of that. Keep, you know, like, reading it, and it can have such a detrimental effect. So
I completely agree. It's just really sad. I always say my theory is hurt people. So I actually now just go, I just feel really sorry for you. Like, what is going on in your life that you've come onto my page and written this statement? You know, I feel really sorry for you. And that just quickly like makes me actually have an empathetic view, as opposed to, you know, I know it's not me. Because this is the thing that people focus on. This all goes back to focus that we were talking about before. A lot of people, when they start posting and build up the courage, will just focus on that one negative comment, but they might have had 10 positive comments, you know. And I just think, well, focus on the 9. Just ignore that one person. Like, who cares? Like, this person's probably going through something, you know. They're you know, and unfortunately, you know, some people who, if they are negative, they don't like see positive people, you know. So it's just like, it's so hard to do, but just not taking it personally and just say, hurt people, delete the comment, you know, or, you know, write back, whatever feels good for you. But I just think unfortunately there are some negative people out there, and you just got to feel sorry for them. That's my approach, and it just helps me stay strong and ignore it, basically.
Yeah, hurt people. I love that. Like, that's just sums it all up, you know? Like, that's actually a great way of looking at it, because everyone's going through their own battles and people deal with it differently. But you're right. And actually, Gary Vaynerchuk, like, I follow his content, and he was saying, because, you know, he gets criticized all the time. Like, he's quite a divisive personality. And he was saying, you know, you can't put any weight in the negative comments, you know, because, like you said, it's human nature. You focus on that one negative comment. But he goes, you can't put any weight into the good comments either. He's like, you know, obviously care about the opinion of the people around you, but don't care about people the opinions who don't even know you, who, you know, are just sitting there throwing judgment and throwing shade for no reason. Because it's really their challenge that they're going through, or their issues that they're going through. It's got nothing to do with you. You just keep pushing out positive content, and it's like attracts like. So I do believe that if you're generally quite a positive person, you'll generally attract positivity as well.
Yeah, amazing. Lisa, I've absolutely loved speaking to you today.
Oh,
so
no,
I've got...
don't tell me it's over.
I know, I'm like, oh my God, we've almost gone to an hour now. It's crazy. But just final question for you. I always love to ask this. So what's the legacy that you want to leave? Like, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want to be known for in the industry?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. I really want to be known for someone who helped others. Like, I really do feel fortunate that I've had so many people on my journey help me get to where I am today. And like, as much as possible, like, I wish I had all the time in the world to answer every question and spend time with as many people as possible. But obviously, like, I've got limited hours in the day, but I do want to be remembered as someone who spent time to help others. And yeah, whether that's through content or through a chat or through looping them in with someone who could help them. Yeah, that's a legacy I'd love to leave behind.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And when I'm in Melbourne next, we're absolutely going to go for some champagne. We're going to celebrate.
Yes, definitely
do the celebration. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much. And finally, where can my listeners find you? Where are you most active?
Definitely LinkedIn. Yeah. So I'm posting pretty much every day. And if you want to go and check out Listening, you can sign up for early access. So the website is lisnic.com, so you can check it out. And we'll be doing some weekly newsletters, sharing business tips. But yeah, I'm pretty much probably most active on LinkedIn. I'm trying to dabble into TikTok. I'm not going to lie. It's hard. Like, I'm not creative. I'm definitely bad at lip syncing, but it's an interesting platform. And then I'm on, so Lisa Teh is my handle. And then my handle on Insta is Lisa Teh _. So yeah, you can find me on any of those platforms doing goodness knows what crazy things.
Posting positivity and goodness in the world. Well, I will link them all in the podcast anyway. So thank you again so much. And have a wonderful week ahead.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Georgie. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to the Mind to Lead podcast. I really hope you got some great takeaways and key learnings from this episode. To help us spread the message, please give us a rating and leave us a review. We love reading your thoughts and your insights and your learnings. And look, reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Georgie Hubbard. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Georgie L. Hubbard. Let's connect. I hope you have an incredible day, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.